Not that kind of an EMT. This is back when you actually saved lives.
Oh yeah, back when nothing was on.
That's a good point though. I mean, if you go to being an EMT today, it's because you're on some reality show. Like you're just.
I mean, that's the biggest scam. You get to just do your job and roll cameras, and then that's your other job.
Yeah.
Like if you're a carpenter
Except you're
now,
not doing it at the pace that you would normally be doing it because, well, stop, cut. We have to redo that scene again because a bug crawled across the room or I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, I've always felt like those guys that are just in an auto mechanic garage fixing cars, and then it's on TV and they're just hanging out, and it's like that's your job.
Yeah.
To fix cars.
Oh yeah.
Not to be on TV.
The mechanics that don't want to be on TV are the ones that are busted for not actually changing the oil filter because they mark it.
Well, in Guatemala, we have a lot of that. Like you have to make sure the same engine that you put your car in for the oil change came back. They might just swap it out, sell your engine. That's a real thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm in the Wild West, man.
That's some ambition. Luke Armstrong here with me here on KFYR. Man, I don't think I've ever heard a whole engine being swapped.
No, you just go in for an oil change and you're like, why is there a Kia engine in my car?
I'll at least put a 454 Chevy in there if you're going to take out my Kia engine.
Yeah, they just need it to work enough for you to get from the auto mechanic shop to your house. As long as it
put a better engine in our Kia.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Price on it 125. Don't take it out.
Yeah, I traveled across the country about a decade ago in a Kia. My brother's Kia named Rio, so they're good cars.
Kia named Rio.
It was named after Rio 2, my brother Tyler's favorite movie. At the time.
There we have it. By the way, thanks for bringing. He brought a liter of coffee. He doesn't live in America anymore when he refers to the metric system.
Oh yeah. People will.
Liter. Nobody in America asks for a liter of coffee.
Yeah. When is America gonna catch up? I mean, the metric system makes sense. Tens, right?
Do you go to coffee places and ask for a venti or whatever those words? Yeah, it'd just be small, medium, and large. And
I protest against that. I'll go into Starbucks and I'll be like, I want a medium.
Okay.
And they'll be like, we don't have medium. I'm like, yeah, you do.
Yeah,
right?
you do.
The mid-size
one
ones,
in between the smallest one and the largest one. That's we call that medium.
Yeah, Grande's the smallest one. Like that. When did that be?
Yeah.
How does that make sense?
Stop it.
Yeah.
That only applies to liquor if you've had too many. I want the Grande!
So for your silent protest, small, medium, and large Starbucks, only refuse any other size.
If your coffee place demands that you use words other than small, medium, and large to describe the size, you have to ask yourself.
It's like I'm not a scholar of Italian, I just want a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. None of us are Italian mobsters here. Let's just order coffee for crying out loud. I do get a kick out of Dennis Leary too. What's one of these flavored coffees? Whatever happened to coffee flavored coffee?
Yeah, I get a trip that I grew this. I knew this coffee since it was a berry.
He brings in coffee that's like super fresh. Yeah. You can still, if you listen closely, you can still hear the bean trying to grow. You can't do that with a can of Folgers, right? It's the powder or whatever.
Yeah. By that point, the coffee, who knows where it's been.
And who knows if it was ever actually coffee.
This you know where it came from. I saw it grow from flowers to beans. Some locals helped me harvest it. I carried it in a backpack, and here it is.
Oh my gosh.
No middleman.
You ever thought about going into business with this stuff?
Yeah, I do sell coffee. I actually sold out this year. So I only produce about 60 pounds a year. I call it delicious overpriced coffee because to actually pay the workers a good wage, it ends up being like $20 the half pound, but worth it. Worth every drop.
I don't want to buy anything unless it's made in America. Okay, but you're going to pay more for it. That's probably
well, they don't make coffee in America, so you'll never buy coffee made in America. I've never heard of a coffee plantation.
Coffee in North Dakota, because if you could, somebody would be doing it by now.
Exactly. Yeah.
But, so what do you got going on these days?
Yeah, so the past 20, I guess I've known Todd now 25 years. So I used to work for him. I
know
his radio face keeps getting better though. Like in my memory, you were older 25 years ago. Like you look great, you look healthy, happy.
I'm happy yet.
You know, if you could see his smile, I don't know if it comes across on the radio, but he is one of the happiest guys you come
It's
across.
because you brought a liter of fresh coffee.
Well, that's the key.
That'll
I
always
think
put
because
a
like
smile on
I
my
woke up at
face.
5:30 and you were on the air.
Yeah.
So who knows
I
how
woke
long?
up-
Who knows how
I
long
woke
he's
up
been
at
here?
2, and it took me 3.5 hours to get that smile. But here we go. Please let Luke know I would like to buy a pound when he has his next batch ready.
Okay, cool. Well,
See,
you can go
I
to
knew
my-
that was going to be. I knew somebody would end up texting me right away.
Great. Well, author Luke McGuire Armstrong on Facebook is where I kind of do all my vending. I'm promoting for the charity. So, yeah, I've been traveling a long time now. Been to over 50 countries, and you
I should
know,
have been playing the Johnny Cash song. I've been everywhere.
I've been everywhere. Yeah, he just lists states though. I'm like, Johnny Cash, did you ever go outside America?
Well, I'm sure he did, but did he ever make it to Guatemala? I'm
Yeah.
guessing not.
But you know, people often ask me like, what is it dangerous to travel?
Yeah,
And-
that was going to be my next question. I mean,
Mhm.
because Guatemala doesn't exactly strike me as, I mean, I've never been there, doesn't strike me as, safe suburbia. Or
Well,
something, right?
this
There are
might
dangers
disturb some
in the
listeners
third world.
that the most harrowing encounter I ever had on the road
Ooh.
involved a creature that is hiding in Bismarck, hiding in Mandan, in the countryside, like the most dangerous situation I faced anyone could face. Do you know what I'm referring to? He wears a mask. So I was mauled by a raccoon.
I was
Twice.
just thinking, that sounds like a raccoon, okay.
Yeah, so like the most
A
dangerous
raccoon or
thing
Batman?
I've ever faced on the road was a raccoon.
What?
I was just washing my face. I was in a place by the Caribbean in Guatemala, getting ready for bed, and this raccoon just came out of the darkness and started attacking me. I then ran to the kitchen. People later recounted they heard a pig being led to a slaughter, and someone else said me screaming like a little girl.
Well,
Because I climbed into the rafters. So as
Really?
people were coming out of this,
Did
hotel,
that work?
hotel, I'm shouting at them to get away, come up in the rafters. So they thought I was like really drunk or something. And I was like, he's coming back. I was full nervous system on that. So, raccoons, they're around. They're here in North Dakota. So be careful out there.
the average North Dakotan never has to fight a raccoon in their own bathroom, though.
I hope not. After that, I started looking at cats a different way because I was like, well, cats are the same size as a raccoon. Small dogs, like, once they go wild, they never
One of
go
those
back.
feral outdoor cats, it might do the same thing as a raccoon in the bathroom. If you startle it and you walk in the bathroom and they just get its claws
It's like,
out.
oh, sorry, I didn't know you were busy. That's kind of the impression of every cat that you walk in on. They're like, excuse me.
This
Excuse
is
me.
my area. I have not to go off on too big a tangent here, but I have a cat that I used to call Psycho because it always had that look like it was going to kill you,
Oh, yeah.
but it was picking its moment. And all of a sudden one day, it came up and started rubbing its head on me and purring.
Oh,
And now, like that cat
must have wanted something from you.
And that cat had an actual name before, and I can't even remember what it was now because it just reverted to Psycho all the time. So
Yeah, I kind of think of all cats as prisoners in the U.S. in hostage situations. Like, I'm going after
some are taken very well care of. Some they may be in prison, but it's like that rich white collar prison, where they play golf and stuff like that. So not every cat's in prison.
I'm thinking of, I have friends in New York, and they don't have children, so they have cats. And the cats just sort of look out the window all day into the world outside that they'll never get to see in New York
I get
City.
to be out there.
Yeah,
Oh.
they wouldn't last a day,
New York
though.
City is
Those rats in
wild
New
out
York
there.
City would take those cats on.
No kidding.
They let the rats roam free in the streets, but you can't have a cat roaming free. It's confusing.
That is kind of
Yeah.
ironic.
There's
Because they could
the
cure the
solutions
rat
right
problem.
there.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
You cure one problem, you may be causing another in that process, I suppose. Luke Armstrong here. So Guatemala is not just a place that you go to have a raccoon try to wipe off your face in the bathroom in the morning. You got a higher purpose of what's going on.
Yeah, so it's, I've been traveling a long time, used to work as a travel writer. Nowadays, my travels are oriented around raising funds for the Integral Heart Family. So this is a charity I've been with since their founding 14 years ago. For 10 years, we call me the outreach director, because if you say I'm the fundraising director, people don't want to talk to you.
They run the other direction.
But the outreach director sounds like, he's reaching out to us. Let's talk to him. But we're a 100% crowdfunded organization. We have 75 kids in school, in our after-school programming, who otherwise would not be in school. So one of the things I learned in traveling around the world is it's crazy to think that there's, 8, 9-year-old kids just kind of left to a poor neighborhood. There's no government intervention to get them in school. So, it's kind of, I have a retreat center in Guatemala. And I always say to people, if you see a problem, don't tell me, fix it. So that's sort of the energy around, like, why isn't someone solving?
America, are you listening? This is some of the best advice I've heard in my life.
Yeah, if you have the energy to complain, you have the energy to fix the problem.
Exactly.
So,
wow.
It's crazy to think, all over the world there's kids in these situations, and unless somebody steps in and steps up, no one's going to advocate for them. And 10 years hence, if your car breaks down in Antigua, Guatemala, you can call the first ever mechanic van. He'll come with tools, fix your car. This is one of our graduates. So he graduated through the Integral Heart Family. If you want to learn Spanish, get a hold of Todd. To get a hold of me, I'll send you Saul's flyer. He does one-on-one language instruction online as a small business owner. He's very successful with that.
Wow.
He's a graduate of our program. So, I keep at it because there's another generation of kids that I can see have a path out of generational poverty that wouldn't be there if it wasn't for what we provide for them.
It wasn't so long ago that you were a kid.
It wasn't so long ago, it's great. I just turned 40 now, so I'm in that bracket of like I'm officially a little bit old.
When you say stuff like that. You were just a kid the other day. What happened?
Yeah, and it's crazy to think when you were my boss, you must have been my age, and I don't know. I still feel like I could not manage anymore.
How old was I when I started here? 30, in my 30s.
I consider you the last voice still broadcasting of the Northern Plains. Like there was a lot of voices out there.
Kind of a last, because actually the guy that replaced Dan Brannon, I was the first guy he hired, so there was almost an overlap there. But yeah, I got the chance to work with Phil, with Dan Collins when he was here.
Yeah, there used to be people around the radio.
There's a Dan Collins story he would not want me to tell. It's nothing illegal. It's just awkward. We're at the post office in this, now mind you, the 90s, if you were trying to get a job at a radio station, you sent an audition tape. It's not like today where you're sending an MP3 by email. You kids have no idea the struggle we went through.
People still use email?
That old thing. Remember the internet when everybody was on there all the time? We'll be really old when we say stuff like that. He had a bunch of audition tapes in his hand, envelopes and stuff, and he was like a couple of people ahead of me. So when he got up there and got the postage done, they at first had set a sign just next to the counter. He actually asked them, because I was standing right there, can you put those, because I've got this guy I work with and I don't want him to see these things. I don't know if he got a job off of any of those. I know he ended up in Fargo for a little while, and then he's in Texas, and he's long out of the radio thing and doing insurance. Last I heard anyway, I haven't heard from him lately, but it was just kind of a weird, awkward moment that, I don't want Todd to find out about this. How do you think I got my job? For crying out loud, that's what you did back then.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, it's crazy. I just came across some stuff. So my father, I think most people know, passed away last year, Mark Armstrong. He was a steadfast voice, and I just came across these letters to the Tribune about people outraged at the name of his show, the Phil and Mark Show. PMS in the morning, but there was all this
when
back
I got
and
here,
forth.
I thought that was the most hilarious thing. I'm like, oh my God, that's clever.
In today's cancel culture, I just don't think that could even exist in these times, but they did it in such a fun way, and it provides, I think, an adequate amount of controversy to keep people interested. So I came across these letters of people like denouncing it. I can't believe this show's on the air. I call on all advertisers to cancel advertising to this show. But then you had...
Did any?
I don't know. Well, this person
Yeah,
claimed all these
one
advertisements
probably
that
did
had
at
like
least.
jumped off. But yeah, there was also then a bunch of letters of support from women saying, oh yeah, so Todd's got some of these letters.
PMS is not a laughing matter. KFYR AM radio broadcasts a program entitled PMS in the Morning. Although PMS stands for Phil and Mark Show, the clearly implied reference is also premenstrual syndrome. Thanks for explaining the joke. We got the joke. I get a kick out of, is it this one? Or there was one of them that, why can't it be, MSP or MPS or whatever they said. And I'm like, because it's not funny.
Yeah. So
that's why.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't know, like I said, in these times, if they wouldn't just cancel that instantly. But, back in the day, if you were having fun, you could offend people. And that was okay. They could always, and Dan Brandon, my dad would say, he always said to those people that would call, you know what, there's this really magical button on your radio. It's called the dial. And if you don't like what you're hearing, you can change it and you can find anything else you want to listen to.
Dan Brandon got away with that. I wouldn't have. Darn near did, because I darn near got fired.
Well, you got away with having me on, so, you're already...
Oh, here we go. It's, how about MCP in the morning? Mark chats with Phil.
MCP in the morning.
See, and that's why you, ma'am, no, I'm not going to out you on the radio. Well, for all I know, this person's not even alive anymore, and they're not hearing this. You don't have your own radio show because of that. And that's how Phil and Mark became famous on their show, because they're funny.
And they would have people say, I love waking up with PMS in the morning. that was their shtick.
The only way you could possibly love having PMS in the morning is the Phil and Mark show. I mean, it lends itself to so much. So.
I mean, very rarely can you make light on that on an ongoing basis. So, if we're going to have a repetitive cycle of suffering in our lives, we might as well be able to laugh about it.
You can't laugh. Mm-hmm. If you can't laugh, somebody's laughing at you, so you might as well laugh with that.
They say I've spent some time in Asia, and they say in like the monasteries of Thailand that the wisest monks are laughing.
Good point.
What are they laughing about? I don't know.
Maybe quietly, because they're supposed to be. If you're sworn to silence, can you laugh?
I shouldn't tell this story, but so I was living in one of
here
these.
we go.
As the unenlightened North Dakotan I was living in a week in a monastery, and it was surrounded by peacocks, and there was this one white peacock, and I just wanted a souvenir of this time. So there was my attachment not being worked out, and I wanted a white peacock feather. So we were doing this walking meditation, and I was just looking to see if none of the monks were watching me, and none of them were. So I sprinted towards the peacock, chased it down, grabbed a tail feather, and I was like, wow, that is the most unenlightened thing. And I'm in a Buddhist monastery in Thailand, and like the moment I'm not being watched, I'm just chasing down an animal to try to steal one of its feathers. So
yeah,
I left the monastery shortly after that, much to the relief of all the monks and nuns.
My favorite Far Side cartoon was the monk who found a loophole. He had a puppet that he put outside the window of the monastery. The puppet could talk. Luke Armstrong here, 7:33 at KFYR. I'm running way behind, so I got to run, but I want you to be able to get a good plug-in to get the charity buffed up. And then tell your people to quit putting, the wrong engine in the car and stuff like that. If you're just joining us, we're talking about how in America, if you go for an oil change, the expectation out of the, not a fine establishment like Schwann, Buick GMC, Cadillac, that would never happen, but just your corner dive whatever, or your backyard mechanic, you expect to pay him to replace the oil filter and then look and see the old oil filter still on there. It's a lot more extreme in Guatemala.
You have to watch out. There's stories of somebody got their car back. They started with a 6-cylinder engine, came back with a 4-cylinder engine. So
they carried out the whole engine.
they say, dishonest
America's not
mechanics
that
that takes it to a new level, down there.
No kidding.
But yeah, so the charity plug, I'm here in the States. I'm here on Friday, I go to New York. I'm here making noise for a really important cause, the Integral Heart Family, bringing kids out of generational poverty. So I think Todd will share a link. You can go on
Absolutely.
his page. You can go on my page, author Luke McGuire Armstrong on Facebook. It's not hard to find this link. It is quite a challenge to get people to click on the link and donate, as it always is. But you can know 100% of your donations is going to support kids on heroic journeys out of generational poverty. So that makes us feel good. I think about life in general, and we know our lives can extend in this way and reach out and support other people who don't have it as good as we do.
One last question. What'd you do with your dad's old clothes? Because there was quite the wardrobe of eccentricity.
Yeah, so I still have a few of choice outfits. I have his leather cowboy hat, and I still rock. So I think
Nice.
you might see it on Armstrongs across America, because my siblings and I sort of took. I have his Merrill wool ski stuff. I find that's great to travel with. It's light, it's warm, and he dressed in you never saw it on the radio, but his wardrobe.
And somehow
was
just listening to the radio, you figure you get this vision of this guy dressing like that, and the vision matches.
Yeah, he actually looked how he sounded. I would definitely
Absolutely.
say. And at his wake, we my siblings and I, we all wore his clothes, which was.
I thought that was the coolest thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I
okay.
think it was my mom's idea.
Because you kind of wonder, okay, how are they handling this news? And then I saw how you guys were dressed, and I'm like, it's all good.
We're handling it like Mark would.
Exactly how he would want you to handle
Exactly,
it.
yeah.
Exactly right. Luke Armstrong, hey, thanks for coming in.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's
Thanks
always
for being a leader of coffee, too.
Thanks for still broadcasting, guys. And everyone that's listening, support this show, support KFYR, support Todd. Once these voices disappear, it's going to be robots online and on the air. And people are nice. Robots are great, but people are really nice.
I had this story on one more story. I got her on. I had the story on yesterday. They were testing out AI robots in a work environment. They discovered, I wish I had the story handy because I just had it yesterday or the day before. They discovered the robots would resort to blackmail.
Wow.
If threatened. Yes, blackmail.
So I guess that's the natural
they're only
response to
human,
being
right?
threatened. It's the blackmail.
Exactly. But it's like, okay, well, how true to life can we make these things? If they'll resort to blackmail, then they basically can pretty much, let's just get all the robots to do all the stuff we don't really want to do so we can do stuff we'd rather do.
I haven't clicked on it yet, but on Instagram they keep trying to market an AI girlfriend to me. It's like that's my ad that show. I'm not sure why they think I'm the demographic for this, but they'll be like, get an AI girlfriend. I haven't clicked through yet, but
there's your next generation country song.
Yeah.
Your AI girlfriend leaves and takes your computer with her.
And steals your engine from your car.
Steals your smartphone. Luke, thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Todd. Always a pleasure.
Always, man. 7:37.
All right, good stuff, man. That was fun.
How in the world am I getting caught up now?
Well, thanks for going late.
Oh, that's worth it, man.
Yeah, all the best, man. Appreciate you.
Did you do video or no?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'll put that up and promote that.
Okay.
Way people can listen to you online.
Fantastic.
Good stuff. I'll drop you a line next